We did get the sunshades up.
We did get the sunshade. We did get the sunset up, which is very important because they didn't stay up, and that's our tradition to actual game day. It was like 10 minutes after we fell asleep at like 11, 12 o'clock, I want to say.
Dude, I wasn't even asleep. I was still awake and it fell down.
Okay, I wasn't. Yeah. Anyway.
There was a giant storm.
There was a storm.
Again.
I was in my tent. I heard a
crash.
And I look out and like we had a whole setup, right? We had tents and like the thing and
a table, several chairs. They're actually some of them right here behind us. These are the stargazers
who
that I
made
bought.
those?
Magus
made those.
Well, technically her husband made them, but I bought them from them because I loved them. They've got our clan symbol on them, and they're super cool looking. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, so we had table, chairs. We had stuff all over the table because it was one of the few places that wasn't muddy for people to put things. And the whole thing came down.
It came down.
On top of it.
I'm really glad on how we made it because it was if our tents were here, it was falling in this line, and just how we made it, it was gonna fall in that line, so it didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
It was
didn't fall
just
in any tents, but it was very depressing.
The next day, I stood around camp for a good 30 minutes, just staring, like literally shell shocked, of just being like. Because we've already been through like two days of crap, and this is just
another one.
And we never actually got those sunshades up properly in camp at all. I spent some time taking them down and doing stuff.
Yeah. Eventually, we did take one of them up to the bazaar to be the roost.
Mm-hmm. And that lasted for 3 hours.
Yep. Yeah. So that morning, Sigbjorn and Haldor and Haldor's brother, who I cannot remember the pronunciation right now, and I went to Lowe's and Walmart to get stuff for people. That's when the Vatican all chipped in a bunch of money in order to get a total of 47 bags of mulch. Granted, 10 of those belong to staff. Those were paid for by Gabby, I believe, out of her own pocket. Is amazing. We made sure you guys got we made sure that staff got those when we got back, but we were in town for hours trying to get all of it.
Ages.
Because we needed tarps, we needed mulch, we needed boots, and I think we needed
anything
like
we needed to survive. Like, yeah, a huge shopping list.
Yeah. And I made it back with Grim, because Grim is one of the ones who went with us, right at 10 o'clock, because we left ahead of everybody else because we had the mulch, and we wanted to try and get that down as quick as possible to make things manageable. So there is a picture out there by Makeera. I believe her studio is Gamergurl.
Gamergurl photography.
Yeah.
I'm already having links posted, there's pictures and stuff. I'm already having all those.
There's one picture that I know of me in my sweatpants at the meeting.
At the proper meeting.
Mm-hmm. At the safety briefing when we were supposed to already be in kit. Yeah.
And I think that's
what I spotted a camera and I was like, oh, Revna, Tiri, come here. But by then, she'd already gotten me, so it was too late. I'm sure there's probably another couple out there.
There's probably a few out there. There was a lot of photographers. Makeera, there was...
I didn't actually interact with any of the others.
I interacted with you. That's probably the ones I have the most pictures of. Especially, and with this, I'll get to that story later. I did get a few cool pictures with that, I know for sure.
Good. I know Makeera got a couple of me, but that's...
Makeera's got 2 of me, and I'm either facing the wrong way... Well, I'm behind a dude.
2 that she's released so far. We've only had the first couple of waves of photos. It's
been 1 week. It's been 1 week. I'm not...
I can't believe how many photos she's already
She's done amazing. Yeah, I'm not...
Girl is a machine.
She's on fire. It's great.
And she's got another event that she's already been to. Mm-hmm. It's...
Yeah, they're crazy. But yeah, I think that's a good way to transition into the main event, to where everything started. Mm-hmm. To be honest... I didn't really do hardly anything. Like, do anything main quest-wise in the game.
I don't think anybody really did anything main quest.
No, like any quest or anything like that. I did 2 official quests. When I was there on that point, it was later in the day because Grim was there. Mm-hmm. I'd already met Grim. We had talked. Cool guy. It was him and a guy named Ravnar. And I'm not sure if Fafnir was there or not at the point. There was a few guys. But basically, I got pulled up in the forest because, like, okay, let's run around. Apparently, some people found stuff up in the woods. The woods at the top of the hill, so it was a hike up there.
You gotta hike up there.
We got up there.
Hike up even higher into the woods, and then hike around in the woods.
Hike in the woods, which again more hills. So we eventually got up there. We started hiking through. Loic was there as well.
Is this when we went with you, or is that?
No, this was later. This is the very first time. This is like when I was first trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
I spent ages looking for John Fingerless, and and it's not confirmed. But I think afterward, I think it was just a lost and found. I thought it was an actual quest, but I think it was just a lost and found. Because like it was a bunch of lost sheep and like.
Oh, that's
yeah,
hilarious.
This is my first thought. I don't know what's going on. This is both of us first thought.
None of us know what's going on.
So I had no idea what's going on. Anyway, after that point, we got up there. We hiked around. We didn't find anything, but then it was me and Graham, and that was my first quest. Is one of staff had just walked up there. We had found barbed wire like 30 seconds before. We mentioned to him, and basically he paid us in-game silver and coins.
Wasn't it?
He paid us in-game gems and coins and stuff like that. To help him with the barbed wire. And so we did that for a couple minutes. And so that was my only official quest. This is not the exact bag. I got this from another person. I got this from another quest that... I got this from another person later on, but this is basically what we got. In the game, there are plenty of resources, and resources are the game, right? As a potionsmith, she needs to find ingredients. This is orc blood. She needed it to make potions. I was a spell scribe. I needed gems to make into spell cards. It's not this is the. It was basically the same thing, but like translucent and like colored.
Yeah. So these are gold nuggets. They're worth 5 silver.
The silver are these lovely coins. I don't know who made these, but they're amazing. So there was the silver, and there was the gold, and then there was gold bars. I never touched a gold bar.
I only saw one in staff tent.
Technically, these are illegal right now. I am not supposed to have these. I did not steal them.
You tried to give them back.
Yes.
I was there.
I tried to give them back. With the state of the game, staff, and just being so busy, there wasn't really any point to collecting these items.
They did have us put them in the chest, but at some point, like
the chest got disappeared, and
they were just like, keep it for next year.
I was busy. I was busy working. I wasn't trying to keep it. I was just honestly doing my best.
Tear down.
Anyway, that's basically what I got for helping him. That was one quest. The other quest, I was with Fafnir at that point, for sure. And we went and we picked some flowers and we gave it to a dude. That was my 2 quests. That's literally all it was. I picked up flowers and I gave them.
I didn't do any quests.
He was making a salad, I think.
I didn't do any quests. Not one. Not one. I sold 1 potion.
You made plenty of potions. You gave some to me and you threw some to the curse breakers.
Yeah.
But you only sold one actual one.
I only actually sold 1.
Officially, I only sold 1 spell.
Yeah. So, at game start, we were not given any sort of materials or ingredients for what we needed as artisans in order to play the game. We were given 10 silver each, and later people were only getting 5 or none because they ran out of silver. Yeah, that's the reason people were only getting 5. It wasn't because they came later or anything like that. It was because
they ran out.
They ran out of silver completely.
250 players.
Yeah. It certainly didn't help that Suzak Mar came in and already had several hundred.
This is the 3rd year.
Silver.
This is the 3rd year, so there was
leftovers.
Layover, I'm not sure.
Yeah. There was leftover gold and silver that they had held on to, and they just didn't have, staff just didn't have enough to go around. But there was a lot of confusion right at the start of the game.
A lot of people, I'm sorry to interrupt.
There was so much.
A lot of people got, basically the best way to say it is a lot of people got handicapped.
Everybody got handicapped. Also, did you know bone hunters might have been supposed to get a timer?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of the Suzak Mar got a timer. I think she said it was from staff. But none of our bone knitters got a timer.
I brought a timer, just in case. But that was my own kit. I brought this.
Yeah.
Just because I was prepared. I brought a lot of stuff I didn't use.
Yeah. We got so much stuff. We learned a lot of lessons.
We learned a lot of lessons.
Don't plan to cook.
Don't plan to cook. I'll get into that later, but like,
don't plan to cook.
Actually, I'll get into that right now, but I brought
Unless
a whole lot
you're planning on like dumping stuff in a pot and just heating it up enough to eat, and that's all you have to do. Don't plan to cook.
So
there is not time. Don't let them lie to you.
There was not time. Like I said, I didn't play too much of the game to begin with. A lot. I'm not saying like I was worse than anybody else, but I was stuck in camp a while because I was trying to cook food, getting fires set up, and I couldn't leave the fires.
Yeah. No.
And there was two. I guess I thought they were battles. You told me they were more like.
Yeah, they were more like mild scripted skirmishes.
I didn't know that. All I saw was a tree line, and I was really frustrated in camp that I couldn't go and do it because I had to watch the fire. Mm-hmm. But we had a lovely people that were just a little bit. Melvino, the potion smith. He's a great guy. He actually helped give a lot of people like hydration and drinks and stuff like that.
And he brought liquor.
He brought a lot of liquor for everybody.
We like liquor.
He had his fire, and he was like, I can watch your fire. So I went out there, and that's when I saw you. And that's when I got frustrated, and I threw myself in the air.
Yeah. So there was a lot of frustration. Things had been really difficult with setup and everything, and I think we were all just really eager to play. But with fighting the swamp all the time, it made it very difficult to do even basic things. And I had happened to be in the right place at the right time.
You were gathering people for lunch. No, for food. It was something. I knew you were gathering people for food. I thought.
No. I was getting like our people. I think.
That's what I meant. Yeah, you were gathering Solvi, Levna, and all of Awful together for breakfast.
That's what. No.
It was food.
It would have been dinner with the scripted battles.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Because they'd already done lunch.
Okay, yeah.
Because
I
spent the first few hours around midday just sat under a tree trying not to die.
Like, almost a heat coma.
It wasn't heat. I just hadn't eaten.
It was an eat coma.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was dinner, and she was going rounding people up for, I guess, dinner. Mm-hmm. And I was cooking, and there was battles, and I was just, like, kind of upset.
Mm-hmm. But I happened to be in the right place at the right time, because I went down to where the tavern was, and was trying to find our people to see, like, hey, do we need to, like, have you eaten? Do you need to, like, come eat with us? There was some other reason. Oh, I was also picking up my gourd. Don't eat the fish.
It's dinner time. We're talking about food.
I was also picking up my water gourd because I left it places a lot because it was heavy. That's another lesson I learned. Don't get a 1 liter anything for water. Get something smaller.
Manageable.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been so bad if the cord hadn't been really narrow, but it dug into my shoulder a lot and made it very uncomfortable to carry. So I left it a lot of places and kept losing it.
So what was the story with the battle?
So I was getting my stuff from where we left it and getting ready to head back that direction, and Uthred, who we call Uncle Uthred in the Discord, he is the mead man. He's been LARPing for
I didn't see a single bit of mead from him. That's just my experience. I didn't see any mead, but
but he was like, "Hey, Volley, are you doing okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, good. I'm about to get assassinated." And we were like,
as you do.
What? And he's like, "Yeah, this dude is gonna like come up and try to fight me, but I'm a much better fighter than him, so I'm gonna kick his butt." And I was like, "Okay, I gotta see this." And I happened to be with our buddy Arn at the time, so we kind of follow them in Makeera, and I hold Makeera's stuff because she's got a bottle and a mug and something else, and so I had like 3 things in Makeera's while she was trying to get the photos. And it was the scripted event where someone tried to attack Uthred, and then Uthred like put them in their place and started to march them back towards the Hadrians. I think this was after the execution.
Oh yeah, that was an execution.
Yeah.
That was we were in the woods. So we were in the woods.
Yeah.
It's not important. That's why I didn't mention it. But we were in the woods. We hiked around for a second. We found nothing. We came back down, and there was just some dude being executed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I didn't know
None of us
why.
know anything about
what
why.
happened is just a dude's head got chopped off, and like.
Yeah. Yep.
In game.
I do want to say, I think it was just sliced, but I do want to say I really appreciate what I saw staff do immediately afterwards. They took him around like behind a tent, took the hood off, and were clearly checking to make sure he was okay, and like doing a check-in.
Okay, that actually puts some more effort because I thought that was actually scripted.
Well, the execution part I think was, but you still want to like check in with your D&D players.
Yeah,
I imagine
exactly.
It's very much the same kind of thing.
Okay, that because I thought they did a whole head chop thing, but no, the slicing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a throat slit. But yeah, because we were coming up behind, they went behind the staff tent, and we were able to see them like take off the hood and like, because I heard, I think it was Liam go, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Oh yeah."
That's great. I do appreciate staff did that.
I think they did that later with other things as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so dude tries to kill Uthred. Uthred's like, "No, we are gonna get retribution for this because the laws of the North demand it." And he starts marching them towards the Hadrian camp, and they stop partway, kind of like right in the middle between all the camps. And he's like, "The laws of the North demand justice, da-da-da-da-da." I don't remember any of it. I was focused on staying out of Makeera's way. And he gets interrupted by a Hadrian who's like, "He's one of ours, we'll take care of it." And Uthred is like, "No, it is mine, my kill to have because it is me who he tried to slay," kind of thing. And the dude was like, "All right, fine, but can you at least do me the dignity of using this one particular knife?" He's like, "Whatever." And he knifes him in the stomach region, I think. Yeah. And then the Hadrian guy like hits him with his mace because right before he stabs him, the guy who tried to assassinate him yells something about the Nightmare Queen, I think it was. Like, "All hail the Nightmare Queen."
I want to say this is gonna come up to some of the undead later.
No, it's undead now. He turned into an undead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stab became undead. That's where it started. Mm-hmm.
Before we continue that story, because I actually really confused about the whole undead thing. Really confused.
Me too.
I was at that point of doing the first sort of scuffle I heard was going on. And Melvino watched the fire, so I ran out, and I saw everyone kind of relax. And I was like, I missed the fight. Crap. So, during the event, it was a great time, but sadly, I gotta say, there was a lot of character bleed between myself, Griff, and vice versa. And we've already talked about it. Mm-hmm. We, like, from both sides, both perspectives make sense. Mm-hmm. But I think as a character, it was definitely interesting. Griff, at this point, for lack of a better term, felt abandoned. Mm-hmm. This is where the undead heralds come in. After the whole thing with the assassination, the whole thing was that it was basically around this point when the undead heralds started coming.
We just hear the hollers of "Undead are coming, the undead are coming, the undead are coming." So we all like converge over by the Suzak Mar and Hadrian camps.
Right as we started hearing them, Griff came out from the camp. Movino was watching my fire again. Yeah, he's awesome. I came out, and as I walked out of the little brush line, I look up, and that's where I see Valley with most of the Vatican, weapons drawn, and like it seemed like you were having a good time. I'm really happy you did. But in my view, as Mage or as Griff, last I'd seen her, she was gonna go grab everyone to bring back her food. And at that minute, Griff felt very alone. And at that minute, he decided to run off and start heading towards the undead by himself. Mm-hmm. From your point of view, it makes perfect sense. Like, we talked about this. But from what Griff could see, all he see is that he was abandoned. Yeah. Your point of view, though... her point of view is there was the battle. She got caught up in everything, And she was trying to get my attention. It's just there was a big distance, so I didn't know.
Yeah, and I was screaming.
I didn't hear it until I was with the Wyverns, and at that point, I had bigger fish to fry than finding out why you were yelling.
Yeah. Actually, did I see you come out?
So, as far as I know, you didn't see me, because I did look at you.
Okay, yeah, so it was the minor skirmish, and yeah, that makes sense, because I saw you at the bridge later coming from the other way, and I was like, wait, when did he get over there?
So eventually at this point, that's when the Undead heralds. This was super confusing because you just mentioned the Nightmare Queen. That's the first time I'm hearing that name. I actually thought it was a Nightmare King or something like that.
Maybe this is
No.
No,
And
I'm sure
I know that's not. I know that's not that for a fact because of later talk in the Discord. Anyway, let's go from our character's perspective. Character's perspective. She was with most of the Vatican. I was by myself. I was running along the recently graveled road till I met with Oculus, another Wyvern, a Suzak, and I think another Hadrian. And basically we were going down to the Suzak camp. And that's where we met probably my favorite NPC of the entire time. I only found out his name afterwards of like Celian something.
Oh, was that the undead guy you were hurting?
Yes.
That was the same guy that Uhtred killed that turned into an undead.
That's the guy.
Yeah, that was the guy. Yeah. That's why he was separated from
Oh
the
my
rest of them.
gosh!
That's why he was separated from the rest
That
of them.
makes so much more that makes so much more sense. Okay, so here's from my perspective. I didn't even make the connection.
You didn't see him, you wouldn't have known.
So as I ran up, he was by Suzak camp. I thought he was a herald who had basically came up and who had walked up to talk to the Suzak, right? I thought that's what the whole thing was. That explains the special dagger, because that's important later on. As I was going, we were talking to him, and he was like, I'm like, yet a herald, my leader's coming, yada, yada, yada. And it was such a cool moment, because he was genuinely scary. He had a bunch of makeup on, and he's basically very clearly undead. And we were holding him, not holding him hostage, but it was very much an impasse, because the undead in the game are really strong. Take multiple hits, do a lot of damage. It's tough.
So you guys were surrounding.
And so we had an archer on him. I had my staff and my sword.
Yeah.
And that
I
was.
will say, when I saw you with your staff and your sword pointed at this guy, I was like, "That looks super dope. Good job." There's an undead coming. Move.
That was one of the few points where Gift did feel more comfortable in other factions, just because that's how the circumstances came. Anyway, we're talking with him, smack talking him, and that makes a lot more sense. Because he was like, where did you die? Like we asked. And I said right near here, with this very dagger. And now it makes sense, because I was like, I thought he died like 50 years ago or something like that.
Nope.
But no, he died like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, with this very dagger. And I was like, where? Here. And the funniest part is when he said, I died nearly right here. We were standing on the road. And so I look down, and I look back up, and I say, were you hit by a carriage or something? It was funny in the moment. It was great. But, so that all happened. He then started walking towards his people, his leaders or whatever. And so we kind of just escorted him through the Suzak camp.
Yeah.
That was only one of 2 times I was in the Suzak camp. And eventually that's where we meet up with the Vatican force. One of the coolest minutes. The Vatican, which is the Viking faction, have come up with the shield wall, which is great. The Suzak at this point, I kind of felt like I helped along. I yelled shield wall, and the Suzak basically formed their own shield wall, and like they came together. The Vatican much bigger, but the Suzak came, and we formed a massive shield wall. And at that point, our undead guy basically came into the fold, and then like 4 or 5 undead guys in various different types of armor. They're like 4 or 5.
I thought there were more.
It felt like more.
I felt like there were so many.
That's where the confusion came, because that's where the main undead guy was, or I assumed was the Nightmare King or leader or whatever.
He is the king of the undead.
King of the Undead.
I think so. I'm not sure.
That's what I thought. And then he was talking with people and doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. They gave us missives, basically, that were like, join us, because you're gonna join us eventually when you're dead anyway. And Torbjorn is the guy who got the missive. And he reads it and laughs as he's reading it aloud for everybody.
I remember that.
Yeah. And he's like, we are the North. We are the people that are free. We will never consent to you.
That was a really cool moment.
Yeah, it was. It was a super cool moment. And the entire Vatican force bellows in agreement.
I was there, yeah. I was like, yeah, still in the middle of the Suzak and equivalents.
Yeah.
Like, one little Vatican over here.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. Another interesting thing that happened actually after was we ended up back at the gate for the camp, and he was like, I'm sorry that I spoke for the Vatican, but anyone who wants to agree with the undead, feel free to step forward. And everyone's like, nah, we're good, man.
Torbjorn very much became the unofficial...
He's mom.
Quote-unquote, let's go mega mom.
He's mom.
Mom. He's the one...
Runar is dad. Torbjorn is mom. Obviously.
He made a lot of the big decisions, especially with the map game, which we'll get into later.
I don't know a lot of the details about the map game.
I knew more than most just because circumstances, I happened to be there when he was reading the rules.
Exactly. It all comes down to timing and where you are.
Anyway, the whole thing with the undead fight. I don't remember how it started, but it was like, he basically, we refused the offer, yada, and then you die, yada, yada, yada. And then they start attacking.
Yeah.
And that was such a cool fight because that was my first proper combat. Like, I didn't see any combat. Like, I didn't even visualize any combat.
I didn't do anything that entire fight except run back and forth a little bit.
I'm proud of myself.
I did heal one person. I had a lesser restore, and I gave it to them, and I was like, here you go, you owe me.
And here you go, just waterboarding them as they're trying to...
But it was a Vatican, so it wasn't like, you owe me 2 favors, like with the Curse Breakers to the Adrians. But we'll get to that later.
So that was a cool fight. Again, I was mainly focused with...
The Herald. That was the Herald.
The Herald. Let's go with the Herald.
The guy who died in the
He was really cool. I talked to them after. It's just that was the only way to describe...
the undead Hadrian.
I didn't know he was Hadrian.
He's wearing red!
It was a very dark... it was very desaturated red.
No. It was like a burgundy red. He was wearing red.
Anyway.
I also saw him before, like, during Golden Hour, so it hadn't started getting darker yet.
Anyway, basically what I focused on with a bunch of my Wyvern and Suzak buddies is we were basically fighting him. And that's where something hilarious happened. As we were fighting, like, huge battle, everyone's fighting, doing stuff, trying to battle. I'm focusing on this guy, and a dagger drops in the ground. And it looks like one of his daggers, right? I was like, okay, out of game, I'm just like, okay, it's a bone dagger. I don't want him to lose it because he's going off in that direction. So I'm going to grab it. And so I grabbed it, and in character, I went up, and he basically got... whenever they died, they went on the ground, and they had like a respawn time or something like that. They were sitting on the ground till they got back up. And it made it really hard. It was really good because, like, it was like I said, 4v100 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was probably like 6 to 7 undeads. Now that we talk about it,
I think
I only interacted with like 4 of them.
Yeah, I think there might have been closer to even like a dozen, because they did give the shield wall a hell of a time.
There was actually I didn't see her till later, but there was one chick in like a veil or something like that looked really cool. She was the only ones to escape. Anyway, after that point, he was basically on the ground, and so I ran up with a dagger, I poked him in the chest, and I dropped it. And he just looked down at it, and he looked up back at me, and it was just like a... And I just gave him a thumbs up, and I backed away. I only found out later, it wasn't his dagger. It was a guy named Morn's dagger.
Whoops.
I
wonder if we'll never found theirs.
I don't know if he ever found it. I think the undead guy, he put it in Lost and Found because he grabbed it. I think it might put it Lost and Found, but I don't know what happened. That's my funny story. How was you doing the fight? Because I don't know.
I stood in the back paced back and forth a little bit, ran away from Undead a little bit, healed a dude.
Nope.
He thought he was down, but he just broke his arm. So I was like, here's a lesser restore. Get back on your feet and get out there. Not exactly like that, but basically, like, here, you're good. Let's go. I'm good. I screamed a lot.
I did hear a lot of screaming.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear a lot of screaming.
Mm-hmm. At one point, they got through the shield wall a little bit.
I didn't know
that.
that.
So I think I was hollering about the flanks.
I'm sure a lot of footage, a lot of pictures are going to come out from the battle. I haven't seen any of the Undead.
I kind of hope not. I don't want to hear myself screaming.
I had a really cool moment. It was really cool.
My cool moment came in the Thrall fight.
Thrall fight.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. My cool moment, just because it happened to be there, was as we were going and fighting, we were getting down, and we were like, they kept getting back up. Every time we got them down, they would come back up after a certain amount of period. And then I don't know who said it, but someone said we needed fire. Now, I had made a torch, and it's currently out.
Did it die?
It died.
Died.
It died.
So sad.
I had a torch in my camp, and so I heard that. And I was like, okay, I need to get my torch. We need to burn these guys to make sure they don't get back up again. And so, I don't know the distance, but it was a good distance. From Suzak camp to Vatican camp.
It's a long
way. Journey.
It's a long way.
What I did is I put almost all my weapons down. I also had like my cartographer kit.
You dropped a bunch of stuff on the ground. Someone was protecting it, and I was like, "I'll get this. I know who's like it's his. I got it." And then I just started like shoving shit in my belts.
I am so proud of myself because I consider myself very fit. I've been preparing for this. I basically dropped the stuff and I booked it to camp across the muddy bridge. Very proud of myself because I knew the mud. I ran past Melvino. Oh gosh, I paused because there was a funny thing that happened with Melvino at that point as well. Anyway, I went to not my tent, her tent, because all my stuff was in her tent. Mm-hmm. I grabbed it from her. I ran all the way back. I'm not sure what happened during that time, but essentially
that might have been when the shield wall fell.
People kept fighting. Yeah. Shield wall fell, and so I got up. I had my torch. I got fire. And so I got my sword from the pile.
I think I gave it back to you.
You do give it back. It was a cool moment because I was like, even though we didn't really argue, but it was like, we definitely was separated at that point of like.
Yeah. And then you came up and I was like, sword!
I was like, thank you! And so he went, and then we got them down, I poked them, and I was fighting. I wasn't sure if I was the only one that had a torch in that battle.
I think another one showed up at some point. But
I felt like really good because I was one of the only ones to do it. And then I know Revnar had one because he popped up later.
Yeah, so that's two. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if there was more people.
I think they were using a tiki torch that didn't have anything in it.
So I had the only proper torch that I'm very proud of, because I was like, I didn't expect it, but I'll take it.
We need more of those.
Yeah, this is great. So I poked a few of the undead. They got down. It was my job to go and stop poking them in the belly or wherever they were. Then Revnar came up with literally a tiki torch that the staff had set up the night before, and was poking them. And so the fight eventually started migrating to the Hadrian camp, and that's where I saw most of them. Yeah. And the main big bad guy, and so this main bad guy that was left, and then the Veil lady, who I think had a scythe. And at that point, they started fighting, and then they cut the losses, and they started booking it to the forest, and so they ran off. I didn't know this till later, but apparently the guy's hand got cut off. Which comes up very important later.
Which guy?
I'm assuming the main guy. Someone's hand got cut off.
The Undead King or
the
whatever?
Undead King, whatever.
Okay.
So I found out later. I didn't even notice at the time, but that was played by Liam.
Yeah.
Liam was the Undead guy.
Yeah. Big Liam.
I guess his hand got cut off.
Big Liam.
That's gonna come up. Yeah, Big Liam. Big Liam has hand cut off, and that'll come up later. Anyway, battle's finished. 2 people managed to escape, and Vatican as a whole kind of went back to
wander back to the gate.
back to the gate.
That's where Torbjorn does his thing. Like, I'm sorry, I spoke for all of us when it isn't my place. But if anyone disagrees, like, feel free to step forward.
This took so much editing to get this down, and if you want to check out the next episode, it's right here.